For most of my life, I believed I had the kind of marriage people quietly envied. We met in college, young, reckless, and full of dreams. 2 kids later, we had our plans scribbled in notebooks, our goals outlined, and our life neatly mapped out. 12 years in, we had the house, the careers, the picture-perfect life. Or so I thought. What I didn't realize was that our bond wasn't built on passion anymore. It had turned into routine. Not devotion, but habit. Not warmth, but the quiet familiarity of a wedding ring that had started to lose its meaning. It began subtly. My wife, Megan, started spending more evenings out with her co-workers, networking events, she'd say. I trusted her completely, until one evening, a photo surfaced of her hand, the one that used to wear her ring, now bare. That night, I asked, "Did you forget something?" She looked confused. "Your ring," I said. She laughed lightly. "Oh, it's just jewelry." Funny how something that once symbolized forever had become just an accessory. The next Friday night, her finger was bare again. "Where's your ring?" I asked. She smirked. "Didn't wear it. It's tight, and I'm just going out." I waited for a laugh that never came. She didn't even smile. "Relax," she said. "It's just a joke." Her heels clicked against the floor as she left, leaving behind a silence heavier than any argument we'd ever had. That night, I scrolled through old photos, vacations, anniversaries, small, unguarded moments that once meant everything. And I realized I couldn't remember the last time she looked at me the way she looked at her phone. Around midnight, I texted her, "Drive safe." No reply. When she came home, I asked softly, "Did you have fun?" She sighed. "Don't start. It was just a night out. You're suffocating me." I didn't argue. Arguments felt pointless when someone had already checked out emotionally. The next morning, she hummed around the kitchen like nothing had happened. "Don't be dramatic," she said with a smile. That word, dramatic, hit harder than any insult. Since when did Karen become a crime? I left for work, but something inside me stayed home. Something shifted. That evening, she got ready again. "Ben's hosting a follow-up dinner," she said casually. I didn't respond. Just watched her leave. The same perfume, the same practiced smile that no longer belonged to me. After she was gone, I walked into our bedroom. Her side of the bed was untouched. Her jewelry box, once overflowing with keepsakes, was nearly empty. Maybe she had started moving out piece by piece. Maybe she never planned to come back. My heart was calm, clearer than it had been in months. That morning, I logged into our joint account and moved my paycheck to a new one. I froze the joint card and changed the house codes. Not out of spite, but out of self-preservation. When my phone buzzed later, the message said, "You okay?" I looked at the screen and typed back, "I am now." That night, I slept better than I had in years. By morning, I cooked breakfast for myself, opened the curtains, and let sunlight fill the rooms that had felt stale for months. Then I heard her car pull in. Her heels echoed through the hall like she still owned the place. She walked in, arms crossed. "You could have texted." I said, "Just wanted to make sure I was single, too." She blinked. "What are you talking about?" "You took off your ring," I said. "Said you were single." I just responded accordingly. Her voice wavered. "Oh, come on. That was a joke." "You're seriously ending this over a joke?" I looked at her bare hand. "Then why not put it back on?" I asked quietly. She glanced down. No words came. The silence that followed was heavier than all our fights combined. I turned toward the window. "I spent years trying to make you feel loved," I said. "You spent months pretending you already were." I handed her an envelope. "It's your turn to decide what happens next." Her eyes shimmered, not with heartbreak, but disbelief. Disbelief that the control she once held had slipped away. "Maybe this is a mistake," she whispered. "Maybe," I said, "but it's mine to make." She sat at the table, speechless, perhaps realizing for the first time that love isn't guaranteed. It's a choice, and she'd stopped choosing long before I did. After she left that morning, I drove aimlessly. No destination, just the open road. I passed the park where we used to sit on Sundays, dreaming about futures that never came. It's strange how the same places can hold entirely different meanings. What was and what will never be. Weeks later, I found her wedding ring on the dresser. I held it for a moment, then placed it inside a small glass jar on my nightstand. Through friends, I later learned she had moved in with someone from her office. Maybe 5 seconds of pain for her, 10 for me, but somehow I'd already healed from a lie. I didn't post about it, didn't broadcast it, didn't seek pity. The real victory was a revenge. It was peace, silence, freedom. Months later, she messaged me on social media. Do you ever think about me? I closed the app. Some questions aren't meant to be answered. They're meant for closure. Love doesn't die when someone leaves. It dies when they stop showing up. I didn't end our marriage out of anger. I ended it out of self-respect. Because the day she called herself single, I made sure she wasn't lying anymore.